Hello and welcome. Today we've got Michael Jaco, former CIA and Navy SEAL. And today we are going to be discussing the death of Jacob Rothschild today and the big Trump win in South Carolina and the economy crash that Jaco says is coming. Now, just before we begin, you can subscribe to my Instagram channel at nicholas.veniamin, where you can follow all my daily news reels. Michael, thank you so much for joining me. How are you and what have you been up to?
I'm doing great, Nicholas. Doing events locally here, Orlando, and so forth. Having a great time, meeting great people, and spreading this word. Getting people ready for the coming crises that are going to start to pop up more and more.
Absolutely. Now let's talk about the economy crash you're saying. Why would there be an economic crash leading up to the elections if the left really want to win? Then shouldn't they be taking all the credit as much as they can? Because the more we see a crash, the more people are going to want Trump.
Yeah, that's definitely true. But if the economy does crash, like we're talking about, then no Democrat will be elected, and that's in Trump's favor. There's a lot of movement towards Trump's team now, and for the oligarchs, the multi billionaires are starting to move in Trump's direction. I see that from a lot of different angles. A lot of people are talking about that. So the stock market is somewhat going to price that in. We're probably going to see a massive rally, just like we have in every other pre-stock market crash. You'll see a massive rally in the stock market. We will see that stock market rally. It's already been happening. The same thing that happened to the dot-com crash, 3% moves in the NASDAQ. We just had one of those a few days ago. So the same situation, the same like NVIDIA, it's like, everybody's like, just like in the dot-com era, NVIDIA is the latest and greatest. It's going to like, make us make, so much money. The same thing happened in the railroads back in the railroad days. Stock market blew up back during the railroad days, and the railroads really didn't do that much for the economy. It'll be the same for the dot-com, same thing. It'll be the same for NVIDIA, AI, and all that kind of stuff. It'll find its way. It will work into the economy as it is right now, but it's not going to be that end all where everyone needs to be invested in it, but everyone will feel that they need to be. That FOMO, the fear of missing out, is going to happen in the stock market. And it always happens where the shoe shine boys are basically telling you what stock they're investing in. And that's going to come very soon. So we'll see the same thing in crypto, massive spike in crypto. I think that we might see right now, crypto is up pretty much closing in on its all-time high. I think around 62, 67, whatever it was. Right now, it's like 53.5. Around that area. So it's up another 1,000 plus points today. So it's going to continue to skyrocket, and it's going to blow people away how much the stock market and how crypto is going to skyrocket. Now, on the other side of this are the protective areas like gold and silver and so forth. You should be dollar cost averaging into those because at some point it's going to be hard to tell, but the stock market will reach a peak and it will start to fall. Now, why is it going to fall? Because the economies don't support it. You look at the UK, the economy is basically in recessionary, and that's 2/4 of GDP in a negative status. Germany just went into a quarter of negative GDP status. Japan is in a recession, yet it's hitting its all-time high. Japan, 34 years before it reaches an all-time high, and it hits it during a recession? I don't think so. So we're seeing the same patterns repeat where the stock markets are going to absolutely accelerate, and then we're going to see this crash. And that crash will take out a lot of people that aren't ready for it. But in the next, I believe, several months, and don't make investment decisions, trust yourself, of course, off of what I say. These are things that I am doing. So I think that you can take advantage of the stock market. As it peaks, it's going to go up and down, but it's going to go mostly up, and it's going to go up staggeringly high. And then the same thing with crypto. We may see, $250,000 crypto or 115,000, but it's definitely going up higher than what it is right now, and it is going up today higher than it's been in a long, long time. So we're reaching a halving point, and the last halving point that happens every few years, 3 to 4 years, where crypto, Bitcoin basically halves. Basically, there's half of the crypto that you had previously, and because there's less, then it skyrockets. And if you were to basically come in months before, like we're at right now, before the halving, which happens in April, and stay in it for the next several months or a couple months or whatever, then it crashes again.
Hmm.
So in the last halving, I made tremendous amounts of money. You're going to make, if you get into it now, I believe, good money. And then you can invest that into other things like housing, which I think is going to go into, is already starting to go into recessionary period. We'll see everything start to deflate, just like it did during 1939.
Yeah.
So right now the inflation's crazy, but we will see deflation coming up.
So do you think that we will see crypto go up and then it will crash, or do you think it will go up and it will stay there? What do you think about that?
It's always crashed afterwards, so it'll crash
Yeah.
again. So I mean, is it a
Which,
long-term investment? I don't. It's a speculation
yeah.
in my opinion.
But what would take over the Federal Reserve?
Um, Donald Trump has already crashed it.
Okay.
So, uh, and I
What,
think that when Donald Trump does come back at some point, whether it's in June or whether it's in November, whenever it's going to be a revolution. But of course, we'll see an economy that probably would crash. Now, he has said that he's glad that Joe Biden is going to be under a crashing economy. And then there's a lot of people say there's no way that every presidential cycle just before the stock market goes up.
okay.
So let's look at that. Let's look at all of the insiders. Look at Bill Gates has sold more of Microsoft stock than he ever has. He is actually not the primary, for the first time in history, owner of stock in Microsoft. Jeff Bezos basically selling. You have J.P. Morgan Chase, Jamie Dimon selling massive amounts. Who's the guy that runs Facebook?
Mark
Um,
Zuckerberg.
Thank you,
Zuckerbucks.
Zuckerbucks. So Zuckerbucks is building like this $1 billion underground facility in Hawaii. Why? Because they see something coming, and they're already selling. They're selling big time. So insider selling. So a lot of people are like, well, we're going to see it crash now. No, it usually insider sellers start early. That way everybody forgets. Everybody
Yeah.
forgets that they sold and they didn't sell at the top. So they didn't really make out that much. No, they're selling now because they know they can make a lot of money right now, which has already been up tremendously right now. All-time highs in the stock market here in the US, all-time highs in Germany, even though they just went into negative GDP. Now in the UK last year around this time frame, they had all-time highs. So we're kind of skirting all-time highs in UK in the FTSE 100. And I think we'll probably see all-time highs again in the FTSE, even though the UK is in a recession. And like I said, Japan's in a recession. And we have 14 other countries that have not reported yet about their GDP for the last quarter. Will we see more countries moving into recessionary times? Yes. So that is coming. So you can't, because GDP is basically built on the goods and services and so forth of what people and companies and so forth create. So if you have a negative GDP, that means you're not creating at a high level, but yet your stock market goes up. So it's speculation, and it's a last push before it crashes always.
Hmm. Hmm. So interest rates right now are very, very high. So now sellers need to reduce their prices just slightly to incentivize on sales, because the market's so slow. Since the interest rates are very high, nobody can afford it. But as soon as those interest rates start dropping, we're going to see a lot of people jump on the property market, and they're going to be, there's going to be a lot of demand, and that's going to push or drive the property prices right up. So property prices eventually are just going to go really, really high. So how will the housing market crash? What will need to happen for it to come right down? Because what do you think about that?
Yeah, it'll be like they're already coming down. You look at commercial real estate, half of what it was, just a few years ago. So that's a canary in the coal mine. I've had billionaire friends that were telling me years ago that everything was like starting to turn down, and they're getting out. They were getting out years ago of their properties. So that's what we're seeing now. Everybody's going to be affected by that. It's not a time to buy real estate. It's a time to basically sell your real estate, and like you just said, sell it at a reasonable price and maybe just a little bit under, because we're going to see a lot of inventory hit the market this spring. And that inventory is going to be so much, it's going to overwhelm and start to press the prices down. So if you come in thinking that you're going to make a lot of money, I see a lot of real estate right now where people tried to bid high or try to have their property high because everybody was buying. It didn't matter what you could go like twice what you pay, three times. I see people that bought just a couple of years ago are pricing their real estate that they bought three times what they paid for it. And they're sitting on it month after
Yeah.
month, and then they're dropping the prices 100,000, where for a multi-million-dollar home, you should be dropping it dramatically. So they're sitting on it for like up to a year. So if you come in and you price your real estate right now at a good price, you can sell that and I think you'll be very happy. And then you get into rental for about a year or so, and you're going to see a massive depreciation, just like we saw in 2008 in real estate. So it's going to be an opportunity as this market spikes to make some income, and then turn that in and hold on to that income and then put it into real estate. Or if you know how to work the market as it goes down with put options and so forth, like that,
Hmm.
or short the market, you can actually make money on the way down too. So there's going to be tremendous opportunities in the next year or so. Right. So if you position yourself and you understand what's coming, then you can get in the right place and then make money, and take that money and buy on the cheap,
Hmm.
like a fraction of what real estate is right now, I believe. That's my opinion. So,
No, of course, of course. I mean, we have seen a big decline in some countries, lots of countries. I mean, unlike Miami, it's just gone up. Everyone from New York is moving
mhm.
to Miami, so that's now the demand is driving the prices higher.
Right, right.
But across the world, interest rates have gone up, and like you said, everything is declining. But then when interest rates come back down, and how do you see property prices declining even more if interest rates come down and everybody wants to buy? We're going to have like 10 people bidding for one property. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean that would be a mistake to do it at this point. But I mean, like you're talking about a hot real estate market where everybody, like you said, is leaving New York and going into Miami. Yes, there are going to be exceptions, but at some point those exceptions will also turn around as well. So I see that if you're when the Fed basically when it sees that the economy is going down, is turning around, and it's not looking good, they're going to lower interest rates to stimulate. And that's going to be every time they do that, that's when the market really takes off to the downside. And so, I mean, you can buy when the market's going down. That would not be smart. You should wait and then buy at a discount, which I believe is coming. But I mean, trust your gut, trust your intuition. You might end up getting a good deal, and if it's a good deal for you at the time, then it doesn't matter what it turns out to be. So you know, calculate what's good for you, what you'll be comfortable with. If you Some people that can pay for the real estate in cash, it doesn't matter. You get in a mortgage, and then you're in a business that collapses. It's not gonna be good. So, just be ready for craziness. The deep state, and this happens every time as well. The people that control the world, when they want to basically make money, they collapse the market and then they go into war. So that's where we're at right now. We're at war is everywhere, and they're going to increase the war drums, increase the war drums. That's why we need a guy like Trump in there, because Trump will stop the wars. And I think there's a faction now that wanted to have the wars, that are seeing that they're not popular like they used to be.
Hmm.
And when wars don't become popular, the people start to turn on the people that try and promote them. So I think a lot of the so-called elite, some people that are just there to make money, billionaire types, uh, they're probably looking very carefully at this and saying, I don't want to be on this side of this. I want to support somebody that's going to stop this. And then because Trump, the last time he was in, uh, stock market blew up. It went super high. Everybody was at work. So the middle class really, benefited from that. And right now, the middle class has been under attack massively,
Hmm.
through inflation and all kinds of crazy stuff. The Fed raising interest rates now, it's pretty much priced most people out of buying a house. But once this market turns around, it goes back to normal, which will be a lot lower than what it is right now, then more people will be able to afford housing.
Absolutely. Now, speaking of wars, people are very aware that Jacob Rothschild, who died today, was responsible for funding partially funding all the wars. His
Mm.
family, the Rockefellers, and I did a post on Instagram, and when I read the comments, I was surprised to have known so many people are aware of who Jacob Rothschild is, and these are the people that don't really like showing themselves. And there's so many of these elites now dying, getting cancer, so much going on. What are your thoughts around Jacob Rothschild?
Yeah, I mean that's a really good point. When it's your time, it's your time. But sometimes your time comes up a little sooner than it would have if you hadn't been involved in some stuff that's very shady. So I think that could have been his outcome. I have to look at that and see what's going on. But this is the first I've heard of it. But it makes sense that we're seeing some of this happening. Uh, I wouldn't go run off on all the people that have been this person's down at Gitmo, blah 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 blah. Supposedly I went to Gitmo. It's like it's gotten ridiculous. All the people have been gone at Gitmo. So I wouldn't put a lot of not a lot of belief in that.
Mhm.
But when you know that somebody like Jacob Rothschild dies, that's a major thing. And the Rothschild family, as we've been hearing, has been under tremendous pressure. They've been selling a lot of their real estate and so forth. Now, was it because they see this crash coming too and are trying to get out? Maybe, or maybe it's because they're having to pay for their past indiscretions. So that's a possibility as well. So we have to look at a bigger picture with a lot of this stuff that's coming out right now. And I think that staying open minded, you know, watching different things like the stock market, like we've been predicting. I thought last year in 23 that this thing was going to, or 22 that this thing would crash, and then it went back up. It kind of like play up and down in 23. It looked like it was going down again in October 23 last year, and then it just took off again. And that's where we're at. We're at the last. If you look at the Fibonacci sequences, this is the last straw. So it's going to hit this one last top, and then it crashes. Now, who is going to benefit from that, and who is going to be on the wrong side of this? That's who we need to look at going forward, because these are the people that manipulated this thing. We should have seen this thing crash a long time ago, and that would have taken out the deep state. So they're able to keep this thing floated up and keep it going for a little bit longer. And I think that makes it even more devastating to, unfortunately, good people out there. So if it had crashed a couple of years ago, it would have been easier for people, but we'll see going forward. I think a lot of people have gotten on the right side of this. I hope they have. And regardless of what happens, we trust in God, and we trust that Trump has been put there. I've seen some amazing things about predictions from very, uh, you know, connected, to God and Christ and so forth, that had predicted that Trump would be someone that would lead us during these times of tribulation. So I I think that is the thing that we need to focus on. Not so much that we need to take down these bad guys and run over them. That's their thing. I think that staying in a higher vibrational consciousness, basically, we just walk away from them, walk away from their society that they've created. Some people are going to continue to follow those societies. We'll probably see big cities around the world that will fall into, like we're seeing in New York right now.
Mhm.
That's why everybody's leaving New York. And truckers don't want to go deliver in New York because it's dangerous. The place is a dangerous place. And a lot of big cities are like that. So we'll see a lot of big cities, I think, collapse. So it's not going to be pretty going forward. When this economy crashes, some of those places that have depended on, different things that were manipulated as far as like, human trafficking, drugs, and so forth, that's getting shut down, especially if Trump comes back. Trump, I hope it's Trump, or someone like Trump will come back and it will turn around. It's going to turn around. That's the way humanity wants that. And that's what we're going to get, whether they want it or not. So they're basically being taken out on different levels. And the stock market crash will be one of those ways to take them out. This time we take advantage of it. Last time, a big one happened, 1929. We all trusted in the government. No one trusts the government now, right?
Mhm.
So we are not on their side. So they're not going to be able to manipulate us like they had in the past. So when this thing crashes, we're going to create something new, and they're going to be, left in the dustbin. So that the dustbin of history, that's where they're going. So it'll be a better world, but there's always in this transition, and we're going from a dark age to a golden age. You look at all those different, prophecies and so forth. We're in that stage, and this is a very difficult stage in between these two worlds. So a golden age will come, but it comes through our consciousness, our desire, our willingness to, put up the fight and go and move forward. So I think I'm
Absolutely.
very hopeful, very positive that things are going to be work out really good for us.
I mean, just the other day, Trump won South Carolina. He's doing very good with his gold sneakers. He's made lots of money, and also his Truth Social platform has been, valued at 10 billion. And we talk about all these court cases and all his, penalties that he has to pay, which now he is appealing, and I think he would win that. How
Oh,
do
yeah.
you think the mainstream media is dealing with this?
If they're in the conniption fit, aren't they? So Trump's golden sneakers, they're like valued at $450. I saw this one meme where Letitia James of New York, who's basically pushed, getting Trump indicted in several different trials where he has to pay the ridiculous amount of money. Uh, so the meme was basically, don't they're coming after the people that buy the sneakers in New York because they're overpriced. So it's like, oh, that's beautiful. But it's just make fun of them. That's a way we win. We just stay in that very positive realm. Oh yeah, you won that court case. Well, you know what? That court case for that one woman that was saying that Trump raped her, which is ridiculous beyond belief. She couldn't even remember the year it happened. It's like, what? How did this? He couldn't even put up a defense.
Mhm.
So they awarded her with ungodly amounts of millions. And then, of course, the left are like, oh, finally, we got to win. No, you didn't get a win, because basically what that judge was, the judge that basically let off the who's the one, Prince Andrew, yeah, Prince Andrew, and the UK, and Virginia Giuffre. She basically came up with a court case, and that judge threw it out. How about that? That
Yeah.
same judge. So
Mhm.
now we know that that Jeffrey Epstein was bad, and that Virginia Giuffre has actually been awarded massive amounts of money for that problem. That was awarded by J.P. Morgan Chase. And why is J.P. Morgan Chase allowed to even still be a bank after funding child pedophilia? So it is, all of these things eventually crash. All of these things are being exposed, and that judge that was involved in that, now we see who that guy is, and we see what he does. So all Trump has to do is appeal these things, keep keep kicking the can down the road a little bit longer, and then becomes president, and they're they're nothing. And then the tide turns, and all these people that have been attacking Trump, then they get investigated, and then the real judicial court system gets involved and starts to take these people out. It's going to be very historic, very, very beautiful.
Absolutely, it's biblical, like Sidney Powell says. I'm very
Absolutely.
excited to see what's going to happen. Lots of people are shifting. My accountant actually, he never liked Trump, and he came to me yesterday and he says, "I'd never thought I'd speak to my business associate about support. How he was supporting Trump." He goes, "I never thought I'd be supporting Trump," and people are waking up, and he sees it. We see it in the UK, and there is a shift. There is absolutely
Yeah.
a shift. And Michael Jaco, it's been an absolute honor to have you once again. Thank you very, very much. I also want to let the viewers know that my team are creating an online community of truthers where you can
Mhm.
get together and, seek the truth and connect with like-minded people. But Michael, is there anything else that you'd like to say to the viewers before we finish?
Yeah, I mean, like I always say, stay in that love vibration. It's hard, I know at times, but that's how they trap us. The lower levels of consciousness pulls us into their way of thinking, their way of creating. They create out of fear and chaos and evil, basically. So when you stay in that love vibration and work together with other people, like Nicholas and I do, then you create and make amazing things happen to keep people informed, and we move forward as a team. And basically, it's going to be a beautiful world going forward.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much. I'll be leaving the link to the community below in the description. But Michael, thank you again very, very much. And we'll speak again very soon. You take care. Bye bye.
You too, Les. Thanks.